Has Garron Noone shifted the needle on the immigration debate here in Ireland? Well, it's safe to say Conor McGregor really threw the cat among the pigeons when he went and spoke at the Whitehouse on St. Patrick's Day. That in itself was a controversy, to say the least, here in Ireland for the preceding number of days. And out of that controversy, which was all over the place, came yet another controversy when media superstar in Irish terms, a guy called Garron Noone, who's huge on TikTok, 1.7 million followers. He's also big on Instagram. He's a creator, content creator and influencer, if you want to call it that. And he does funny skits. He's also a musician. He's a songwriter. So he's basically a pretty much mainstream internet personality. Irish from County Mayo, as Irish as it gets. And he does great stuff, wonderful stuff. Beloved by people both here in Ireland and abroad. In fact, so beloved and mainstream is Garron Noone that he recently appeared on The Late Late Show, which is RTE, the state broadcaster's flagship show, where they have guests on, they do interviews, they have music acts on, all that kind of stuff. And let me say, if you get invited to be a guest on The Late Late Show, it proves and says one big thing, as far as I'm concerned, that you're a safe pair of hands. You're accepted by the powers that be. You're part of the club. You're okay in their books. So that gives you, or should give you, a bit of a measure about who Garron Noone is and what he's about. Essentially, a very, very popular, safe, funny, musical type of guy who does his own thing, and many, many people watch it. But because the whole Conor McGregor thing was just exploding in all kinds of directions last week, and I covered it here on the channel, as you may know if you watch this channel, I covered it twice last week. Garron Noone was asked by many of his subscribers, his followers, in the comments section to opine, to give his opinion on what was the hot button topic of last week. Now, it's not really what Garron Noone does. He's not politically motivated, not politically minded. He doesn't do political commentary. He just does his own thing. And it's not really controversial. He doesn't get bogged down in the weeds and in the controversies like I do all the time. He's not that kind of guy. He's not that kind of channel. But in response to what imagines a lot of questions and comments, he did weigh in and gave his 2 cents worth. This is what he said.
Well, Conor McGregor was in the White House the other day. I have been inundated with messages to talk about this. Now, I get asked for my opinion on these kind of serious topics all the time. I don't know why the fuck people care, because I just shouted cups of tea on the internet. Now, the reason that I prefer not to make videos about this sort of shit is because I don't think it's fucking useful. The entire story of the world is being told in poorly researched headlines and 40-second fucking TikTok clips, and it is making people fucking nuts. For me to talk about this in a way that's even approaching being useful, I need to spend 25 minutes talking about Conor McGregor the person. I need to spend 40 minutes talking about immigration in Ireland. I need to spend 40 minutes talking about the fucking economy in Ireland. I need to spend an hour and a half talking about our fucking government. Now, my opinion on Conor McGregor is irrelevant, but I don't think he's a good person. I don't think it's particularly hard to find evidence of that. But it doesn't surprise me in the least to see a lot of people agreeing with what he was saying. There absolutely is an immigration issue in Ireland. That doesn't mean that people feel like we shouldn't take the refugees that we're able to take. It doesn't mean that people feel like people shouldn't be able to come here for better opportunities. But the systems that we have in place are being taken advantage of. And that is plain to see. And the government continually does not allow people to express their concerns about that. Along with this, Ireland continues to become one of the richest countries in the world, while most people's quality of life is going down. Our towns, and especially our cities, are becoming much less safe. Now, that's not just because of immigration. There's a lot of factors to that. But if you can't see that that's happening, then you have not left your house. Communities all over Ireland are concerned, and their concerns are continuously not being heard. And when you continuously suppress what people are feeling, you turn them towards more extreme beliefs, you increase their distrust in the government, and you push people towards racism and extremism. Now, no doubt, a lot of people in the comments are going to completely misconstrue what I've said here, but that's the internet for you. Anyway, Stay delicious.
Now, to me, and probably to most, if not all of you, that was a perfectly reasonable statement, a reasonable stance to take on the issue. And it is the top issue, make no mistake, it's the top issue in Ireland of today. And he was pretty balanced there. There was nothing radical there. He was just saying what everybody else, most people, are probably thinking and seeing. And it wasn't in any way off the deep end. It wasn't in any way radical. It was nuanced and it was balanced and it was fair. And as Garron pointed out towards the end of that clip, certain people were going to take what he was saying completely out of context. The radical left here in Ireland has had free rein for years to cancel whoever they didn't like, whoever transgressed against their radical views. They've just had it all their own way. They've seeped into all facets of Irish society and they've been able to cancel anybody on a whim. Anybody who went against the Church of Woke was dogpiled. And that's exactly what happened here. But this time was different. This time it didn't quite go to the commies, the leftists playbook. Because Garron Noone is a beloved figure. He's a beloved entertainer, a beloved content creator with all age groups, all across society and abroad. So for him to make a perfectly reasonable statement about, albeit a hot topic, for him to get absolutely dogpiled by these far left crazy lunatics, for ordinary people seemed all wrong. Something was amiss. And it was made all the worse because Garron Noone, who has admitted himself suffers with mental health issues, which is very, very common these days in today's society, he deactivated all of his social media accounts. He just completely disappeared off the internet. Such was the vitriol, such was the tsunami of threats, I believe, death threats, doxing his address. It was vicious. And when the left come after you, it is vicious. There's no holds barred when the radical leftists try to get their teeth into you. How very dare Garron Noone, or anyone else for that matter, possibly bring up the topic of mass immigration, open borders, and its effects on Irish society. But while the radical lefties, and indeed the mainstream media, the political class, and all the state apparatus had been dogpiling Conor McGregor for the past few days, and Conor McGregor is a very divisive figure at the best of times, they dogpiled Garron Noone in the same way, but this was different because, unlike Conor McGregor, who is very divisive, Garron Noone is not. In fact, Garron Noone is absolutely not divisive. He's not radical. He's not some radical far-right figure. Garron Noone is beloved by one and all. So, for him to have been completely chased out of town by a pitchfork mob of looney lefties and chased completely off social media with his millions of followers opened a lot of ordinary people's eyes. People who wouldn't be generally invested in the whole debate. They might have their own thoughts, but they wouldn't voice them, and they would try not to think too much about it. They're far too busy. But now suddenly all eyes were on Garron Noone and what he said, and what happened to him after he said what he said. If Conor McGregor opened up a Pandora's box, then Garron Noone blew the box apart. And now it's everywhere. The far left lunatics, who are so used to getting their own way, were now shown up to be exactly what they are. Bullies. Just plain and simple bullies. If they don't like your opinion or what you say or how you say it, they're going to just bully you into oblivion. People were coming out of the woodwork from all different parts of society to stand with Garron, showing their support. Hashtag I stand with Garron. Please come back, Garron. Please come back. We love you. Come back to the internet. You did nothing wrong. You said nothing wrong. Don't let the bullies win. In the blink of an eye, Garron Noone had inadvertently opened up a whole other front on this war against mass immigration, open borders, and the invasion of Ireland and the Irish. As Garron might say himself, it was delicious. Well, after all of this drama, I'm delighted to say that Garron has indeed returned to the internet. He's reactivated all his social media accounts and he's getting back to doing what he does best, much to the delight of his many millions of followers. But what do you think about the whole drama? Has this exposed to a lot of ordinary people, shall we call them that, what the left is and how stifled the debate has been about this particular topic? Has Garron Noone moved the dial, moved the needle on the whole debate where people can now come out and say, I stand with Garron, he said nothing wrong, and now I'm not afraid to say it too? If that's the case, and it may well be, then we're moving forward in a way I didn't think possible till just a few weeks ago. The Conor McGregor thing being one very blunt pile-driving incident, and then out of that sparking the Garron Noone episode. So things are happening. Where they'll go from here is unclear. But as I said in a previous video, I'll take any win I can get, where I can get it and when I can get it. It's all good in my book.